there is a tendency to draw a line between verse 15 and verse 16 and say, okay, so now we're talking about good and gifts. We're talking about what God does. But James has bringing all of his arguments always loop back. So he always starts with a statement. He comes back to it. And when he makes this statement that every good and every perfect gift is from above, in verse 16, coming down from the Father of lights, I want to remind you that the word perfect there, all right, every good and every perfect gift, James started the chapter talking about this. In verse 4, James said, let steadfastness have its full effect, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing. Talking about trials, James said that God's intent is to make you perfect for the purpose that he has created for you. Not perfect in the sense that God is perfect, but perfect for the job that God is creating you for. Just like we talked about a saw and a hammer and all of those tools, they have to be forged differently. They have to be built differently because they're being used differently. We are being perfected for the purposes that God has called us to, and therefore, when he says every good and every perfect gift, he is referring to the testing that you will endure. That God's testing upon you is a good and perfect gift. Because it is contrasted with the temptation he deals with in the previous verses. The temptation that comes from our desire corrupts us and eventually brings forth sin and death. His work, his trials, his testing instead perfects us. It is a good and perfect gift. And if every good and perfect gift is from above, so that means that the things that we enjoy are good and perfect gifts, and the things that are difficult are good and perfect gifts.